talk to us, I guess, about your journey to Florida State, things you picked up along the way from your time at your prior institution?
Yeah, so transferred after this spring from University of Oklahoma. So far, it's just been great. You know, Coach Norvell, the staff, the players, they've been just great, and welcoming me in, just creating a family for me. Bringing a lot from there, a lot of experience from playing, also a lot of knowledge, but really excited just to be here.
Ira, you're right.
Your relationship with them goes way back, but obviously last season did not go well for Florida State. Did that not cause you any concern? How did they handle that as they talked to you about coming in?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenging season. Really the thing is about how we're going to bounce back. And Coach Norvell, the coaching staff, they were confident in some of the guys that they brought in, some of the pieces that they added to the team. And then, just some of the reasons why, they weren't as successful last year, the ways that they can change, ways they can get better. And, that's all good stuff, A lot of times things happen. Season doesn't go your way. Games don't go your way. It's how you going to respond, how you going to change, how you going to get better. And that's what we're trying to do.
Brendan?
What was it about this opportunity that was appealing for you? I imagine you had other options as well, so why Florida State?
Yeah, I just felt like Florida State was the best place for me to be able to compete at a high level. And then I just love the coaching staff. I've had that relationship since high school. They recruited me out of high school. So getting back in contact with them and just hearing the ways that, they wanted me here and the excitement for that, it was great. It was good to know. But just, continuing to build that relationship and have that opportunity was really great.
Kurt?
Hey, Gavin. What relationship did you have, I guess, with Gus Malzahn? I guess was he at UCF already when you were coming up as a recruit? And I guess how did they sell you on his offense really being a fit for your skill set?
Yeah, he was at UCF. So when I got here, took a visit here, met with Coach Malzahn and just went through the offense, learned about some of the schemes he likes to run, different things he likes to do to get athletes the ball in their hand and in space and to make plays and make opportunities. I loved watching it. A lot of stuff that I was kind of familiar with, I've seen before. I played against him when I was at Oklahoma. We played UCF, and it was a dangerous offense. And you see what he was able to do with the guys that he had. And just excited for what we're putting in and what we're getting ready to do.
Jacob?
In your first year here at Florida State, what would make this season a success for you personally?
Yeah, just helping the team out however I can. We want to win, we want to compete, we want to do everything we can to be the best. So however that looks, just being able to be my best, to grow, continue to grow, build a family with the guys here, but just we want to win.
Ira?
The game didn't go the way you wanted it at the time, but that game against Florida State a few years ago, you got thrown into a big situation and played really well. What was that like for you, and what are your takeaways from playing against Florida State?
Yeah, it was really cool. One thing that really stuck out was the chant for sure. It was addicting. Trying hard not to do it, but now I'm free to do it now. So no, it was great. Florida State is a historic program, and that's the one thing I love about college football. Just the opportunity to play a lot of these historic programs. Like I'm living my dream every day. Now I get that opportunity to be here at Florida State and have that opportunity to do that. So I'm really excited.
Kurt?
You arrived here as probably the most proven guy at this level in the running back room, but it's a room that has plenty of talented guys, plenty of options. I guess what are your early impressions of those guys? I know you haven't been in a true practice yet, but in the summer workout practices, and how much? I mean, is that something? Are you feeling naturally able to step into being maybe a leader as the veteran of that room?
Yeah, they're all those guys are great in that room. Really competitive, love each other. Great guys. Want to see the best for each other, but still at the same level, time competitive. So it's a great room to be a part of. They welcome me in, and I'm glad to be in that room. But just continuing to compete, continuing to grow each other, use ourselves in different ways. One back can't really run the ball the whole game. It takes a couple of us. So however that looks, being able to somebody's hot one game, somebody's hot the next. Whatever it is, just continuing to compete, build off each other. So we can get this offense where we want to get it to.
Brendan?
Coach Norvell mentioned that your blocking is one of the areas that's just gotten better, I guess, year over year. What has gone into that for you? How confident are you in that aspect right now?
Yeah, I'm really confident in that. Blocking for me is a lot of a mindset. Just being able to sit in there and be tough, be physical, get the job done what you had to do. Protecting the quarterback is the number one thing that we have to be able to do as an offense. If you don't protect that guy, you're not going to end up well. So having the ability to do that, just continuing to focus on it, understanding the pressures that are coming, being able to get that, pre-snap read, being able to have good technique, step in front, and then at the end of the day, it's a hard thing. Got to be tough, got to be physical, got to stand in there, do your job.
Ira.
Did you, what have been your impression so far of being around Tommy, getting out and working with him? And had you seen much of him, or have you gone back since you came here to see what he's done in the past?
Yeah, I followed a little bit of what he was doing before he came here, and it's been great having him here. He's a good dude, high energy dude, competitive dude. He's really a pro. He's meticulous on the details for everybody. This rock's supposed to be this deep. You're supposed to take this many steps. The timing's supposed to be like this, which I believe is great. It's great to have somebody like that. That's really, challenging the guys, but then also putting his best foot forward and actually stepping out there, competing, leading, right alongside the guys. So he's been great.
Brenda.
How did you deal with, I think last year maybe had to play through some injuries. I guess what was that like, that process, like mentally, physically, to kind of have to push through that, and how are you feeling now?
Yeah, it's always hard, going through injuries, and you want to be out there on the field, and sometimes, with what happens to your body, you just can't. So, just trying to get healthy, staying ahead of it, staying proactive, and then just being able to do whatever you can with the opportunity that you have. So, if that's not on the field, how can you help the guys around you, prepare for the game? How can you help them with something that you're seeing? If you do get out there on the field, how can you, execute your job? You're out there on the field to get the job done. You can't. There's no drop off. As I continue throughout my career, just continue to be proactive. All the recovery modules I need to do. Spending extra money on, trying to stay healthy, extra time, trying to stay healthy, stay in the training room, whatever I can, so that I can stay out there on the field.
Aslan, back there.
I think this time a year ago, Gavin, like you're coming off a really strong 23 season where you ran for 100 yards over 6 times, presumptive kind of starting running back. Now you're in a different institution. I guess, where are you at kind of mentally, and what are some of the things that you think are going to help you become a better player, and did you find those in the process of committing to Florida State?
Yeah, just continuing to accept the challenges that are placed in front of me. Not everything works out the way you planned it to, and I'm presented with a new challenge, a new opportunity here at Florida State. I'm excited for it, but just continue to take everything head on. Attack every day. Get better every day, and everything that I do, whether it's conditioning, whether it's in the weight room, whether it's during skills and drills, the little things, continuing to learn the offense, all those things. Just continuing to give myself a better, well-rounded player. So, attacking every day, being smart, being proactive, trying to, just get better.
Ira.
You called Tommy a pro, and some of the guys we talked to this week have talked about the example that Deuce Robinson sets as a hard worker, and we've heard a lot of good things about a lot of the new players that have come in. Like, since you've been around a little bit, what do you feel about just kind of the chemistry or just the spirit of this team in 2025 Florida State team?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's really family oriented. Everybody's so accepting. It doesn't feel like it's a whole bunch of new guys on the team. It just feels like there's a lot of guys, a lot of brothers on the team. It's a family. So, it's been great to see all that, and just the way everybody carries themselves and handles themselves. There's an intensity to be great. Where everybody's focused on it. Everybody knows the goal. Everybody knows what we're trying to get to. Everybody's holding each other accountable. So it's become a standard. It's become an intensity that we're all chasing after.
We're gonna Aslan for the last one.
Between Coach Shack and Coach Malzahn, have they told you guys in the running back room that they're counting on all of you guys to be part of this, or do they hope that one or two of you kind of emerge and are the reliable guy that they can kind of go to down in and down out?
Yeah, they're counting on everybody. I mean, I think it's great to have a whole room rather than just one or two guys. You never know what happens, but counting on everybody, pushing everybody to compete, pushing everybody to learn the plays, get better. Whatever that ends up, we're trying to find the best team, and whoever that is, we only put 11 out on the field, but you got to have people that can come in and continue to keep that standard at a high level. So just continuing to push the whole offense, push the running back room especially to be great, be well-rounded, make sure everybody knows the plays, make sure everybody's doing what we're supposed to be doing. We can all get the job done if we need to.
Perfect. Thanks, Gavin.